Here we see two students working at a lab bench, only one of whom is following correct safety procedures. While working with certain chemicals, wearing gloves is always a good idea. If they're purple, you get to be stylish as well as protected. The most vulnerable part of your body is your eyes, and it's imperative you wear safety glasses at all times. Failure to wear safety glasses can lead to cataracts, lazy eye, pink eye, dripping mascara, and blindness. Especially if your partner is clumsy or just doesn't like you and decides to shake a set funnel in your direction. If your partner is an oaf or really does hate you, be sure to know where the eye wash stations are. Hold your eyes open and rinse for at least 15 minutes. Be sure to inform the instructor promptly of any lab accidents. While working with chemical compounds, it's important to dispose of them properly. Make sure to check each waste disposal container to find the right one for the stuff you want to get rid of. Mixing incompatible waste has caused many spectacular and gut-wrenching pyrotechnic displays. Pour carefully and be sure to close the bottle tightly. It's also very important to work with certain volatile chemicals inside a hood. Notice this student is pipetting her compound behind the yellow line in the hood. If a hood is equipped with a sash, such as the one in the background, be sure the sash is lowered to the indicated height. Although coke is not an excessively dangerous chemical, food and drink are never permitted in the lab. However, the benzoyl chloride our student is working with is very dangerous, since lacrimator is just a fancy word for tear gas. Working with volatile compounds at your bench instead of a hood can lead to inhalation, which is a very bad thing. While working with glass, it's important to check for cracks before starting. Even small cracks like this one significantly weaken the glassware, especially if you're going to heat it. In this experiment, the student will be heating the round bottom flask in a thermowell as part of her reflux setup. She uses stopcock grease on the condenser to assure a good seal. Always use a funnel instead of trying to bore directly into the flask. If you do break glass, be sure to dispose of it properly, using a broom and dustpan and placing the shards in the designated glass box. When an experiment such as reflux calls for heating, it is imperative to make sure the system remains open. Here the student places a stopper on top of the condenser, turns on the power, and walks away, leaving the stopper in place. This is a closed system which, when sufficiently hot, can lead to an explosion. If you spill liquid on the bench top, you should clean it up using the special sorbent pads available in your lab. Working with complex setups such as this distillation apparatus requires proper clamping technique. Using too few clamps or not tightening them enough is a surefire way to break some glass. This student is placing clamps at key points and tightening them appropriately. She leaves the clamp supporting the condenser slightly loose to avoid introducing stress into the apparatus. The clamp holding the distillation flask to be heated is tightened securely. Hose placement is also important in experiments such as distillation. Leaving a hose dangling is a recipe for wet pants. Be sure to attach the input hose firmly to the nozzle and leave the drain hose pointing into the sink. A slow flow of water is perfectly adequate for cooling a condenser. One should never heat a highly flammable solvent such as ether using an open container on a hot plate. The vapors may flash with dire consequences. Should a fire such as this erupt, quickly move the victim to a fire blanket or, better yet, a safety shower. This is not the time for modesty, so be sure to remove any clothing which has been splashed with chemicals. Medical attention should always be sought in these situations. Backpacks and other personal items should never be stored on lab stools because they may impede access. Pull the pin on the fire extinguisher and point it at the base of the flames while slowly rotating in a back and forth motion.